what is up? Welcome back to another episode, man. We're so happy that you're here. It means the world to us. If you're new to the channel, man, hit the subscribe button. Smash that like button, help that algorithm, man. It's all about getting views on these bad boys, and we do our best to bring you really hot topics. And I also go to, questions that I get in the comments because at the end of the day, I'm trying to create content that is for you. I already know the shit. I take my time to come on here to teach you. So if you have any questions, concerns, comments, we'll leave it for the end. But you can jump on at any time and drop one down below, and I will do my best to shoot content on the topic that you request. We appreciate you guys being here. Today I wanted to kind of talk about, we don't do really any, but I wanted to talk about the difference between fire tubes and water tube boilers, because I get this question a lot. Really, because a lot of my videos will show boilers with the doors open. In our business, we do a lot of fire tube boilers, not water tube. But there are some distinctive differences, and I wanted to talk mostly about fire tube because that's what our expertise on. I will tell some of the differences to water tube because I understand the water tube side a little bit, but we don't deal with it. So I'm just being fully transparent with you. With that being said, fire tube boilers, as simple as I can put it, is you have a flame inside the box, you have tubes running through the boiler, surrounding the tubes is water. The heat transfer through the chamber, through the tubes, heats the water around it. So it's kind of multifaceted because I've done videos talking about stack temperatures and having high stack temperatures and the effect of the systems, effect of the heat, the effect of the transfer of heat, obviously, between the tube and the water. And then on the water tube side, the fire's on the opposite side and the water goes through the tubes. And sometimes with these systems, you're dealing with different types of pressures. Typically for us, 99.9% of the time on the boilers that I work on, we're working on low pressure vessels. So really no more than 5 PSI steam, and even that's super high. But I'm just letting you guys know, like on the tier, we're not dealing with high pressure steam or high pressure systems by any stretch of the imagination. And then on the hydronic side, even though we still use fire tube boilers, we're really only trying to shoot for a temperature of about 180 degrees to satisfy the hot water system. With all that being said, it all ties into a lot of different things. The design of the boiler, how many passes are in the boiler. Sometimes we have 2 pass, sometimes we have 3 pass. I've done videos on this as well. But it's super important to understand, sometimes for me, I've been doing this for so long that I have a hard time breaking down to the minutiae, almost talking in layman's terms. Like I talk a lot of boiler speak because that's what I'm used to, but I sometimes have to realize, like, what's our reach, who's watching these videos, who's getting something from them, who isn't, right? So, because we want to reach everybody. At the end of the day, yes, this is we run an industrial company. We talk about industrial boilers, but we do talk about residential stuff, and all these things can be, it's very linear in how you look at the different things. Yes, the systems can be slightly different, but a boiler operates the way a boiler operates. So we are talking a lot to the people in the industry, but we also want to bring awareness to people that aren't in the industry. We want people that want to just learn about the equipment that might be in their house or might be in their building, so they have a place to come and they can clearly understand without me giving you too much verbiage of what I would use. Because like I tell my guys in the field, it's almost like learning a whole nother language doing this type of work. And I'm not trying to make this a place where you go, where you have to learn, like you don't understand what I'm saying. I need you to kind of follow along, and I will do my best to speak in terms that are very simple. So with that being said, remember, as a vessel is about it's circular. Sometimes they're square. They do have square. But in reality, in our world, we have Scotch Marine style boilers. They're more of a circular boiler. And inside of that, we have lower tubes, which are a little shorter. We have upper tubes that are a little bit longer. And the passes are basically based on where's the chimney or the stack or the smoke pipe or the breaching, however you want to say it. So a lot of our boilers, the stack is on the back side of the boiler, which creates what's called a 3-pass boiler. The flame goes in the chamber, bounces off the back end of the wall, goes through the bottom set of tubes, which are a little bit shorter than the top tubes, and then it bounces off the front wall of the boiler and goes back up through the top tubes. That's the 3rd pass, and then out the chimney stack. Along with that is the draft and different things that go along with that. Now, I'm not going to get into all that today because that's a different topic for a different day. I'm pretty sure I've talked about draft and the importance of pressure over fires and different things. We've had that discussion many times. But just the normal understanding of these type of Scotch Marine style boilers, the truth is the beginning stages of where these boilers came from, they used to be in ships. That's how it started. They used steam systems. A lot of times they were coal-fired, and they had guys down in the plant just shoving coal into this thing and producing steam, and the level of the coal would be like higher, lower, based on how much pressure they needed, what they were trying to drive towards. But in the grand scheme of things, this vessel is filled with water, and in between are these tubes, and the heat that passes through those tubes is heating up that water. Now, in a steam system, I need a certain amount of BTUs to change the element from water to a gas. So I have that 212 to 213 degrees is the transition I need to go from one stage to another stage. So now I'm talking about size of fire, size of the equipment based on the square footage of the heating space in the building. So there's a lot of mathematics that goes into that, but essentially what we're doing is I'm heating up that water to a certain temperature so I can create a gas that's going to produce steam for the whole building. And on the hydronic side, it's more pressurized. There's no spaces in there. We're basically filling up the vessel, filling up the system for whatever pressure we need. Some buildings are taller, some buildings are shorter, some buildings are longer. And based on the mathematics, we're going to add that necessary pressure to in order to get the heat to those radiators as needed. But again, going back to the simplicity of it. Simple tube. Fire passes, well, not the fire goes in the chamber, and then the heat that's produced by that flame is passing through those tubes, heating the surrounding water. Now, where a dirty boiler gets involved, if you're watching this, I've done this video before, but I'll talk about it again, is soot will build up on that tube. So now if you think of anything else as you're transferring heat from one thing to another, initially I'm transferring the heat passing through this tube right straight to the metal, and right on the other side of this piece of metal, which is like a 10 gauge tube, is water, and I'm able to heat it. Now, if I insulate the inside of this hole and I pass heat through, does the transfer of that heat go through without any issue? Or am I causing now a barrier between the heat and that metal surface to transfer the heat? Well, the answer is obvious. As I coat the inside of this with soot or debris or anything like that, the heat transfer is not as good. So now that heat still passes through the tube, but instead of being absorbed into the water, it extinguishes out of the breaching and out of the smoke pipe, which creates higher than normal stack temperatures and also takes the efficiency away from the system. So again, very simplistic in my explanation. Here's my camera cap. It's about the size of this. This would be hollow. Around here is water. The heat transfer going through this tube surrounding with water heats that water up. And that's basically the most simplistic way I can describe a fire tube boiler. Now, obviously on a water tube boiler, it's the opposite. The spacing of heat is around the tube and the water passes through the tube. But again, for me, I don't want to talk about things that I'm not super knowledgeable on because we don't deal with any water tube boilers whatsoever. We're all fire tube, water's on the other side. But there are different pressures, there are differences, but I talk about things that I'm knowledgeable in, and I don't come on here acting like I know about things that I don't know about, because that would be unfair to you, and there's enough on here, and I'm sure you can find a water tube video out there, but that ain't gonna be me. So I hope you got something from this. Very short, straight to the point, very simplistic, but I was requested to do it, and here we are doing the video. And like you said, sometimes they're going to be really deep in the weeds, and sometimes they're going to be real surface level, but that's all part of what this channel is. I'm trying to attract different people to come to the channel and watch it, and I know sometimes I can get deep, sometimes I gotta go a little bit surface level, but that's okay. If you got something from this channel, man, we really do appreciate it. If you haven't already, smash that subscribe button, smash that like button, help us out. If you got a question, comment, concern, whatever, like I said earlier in the video, drop it down below. I will respond to you. It's always me, not somebody else. I deal with these things with tender love and care. So I hope you got something from it. I hope you have an amazing day. Keep crushing it. Keep crushing your business as well.